relevancy is defined by being able to connect with human beings. In other words, you want to be able to answer the question of so what, who cares, each and every time. The value proposition is critical when you're networking. After all, we're here to network and do business together. On that basis, what is it that you bring to the table of prosperity? And of course, clarity, so that it's easy for the other party to listen to you and follow you and want to continue to have that conversation with you. That's why they are so important. In the domain of public speaking, the three fields are speech making, which belong to politicians, CEOs, and stars, which means that it's all speaker-centric. The second model is academia. Well, that's where curriculum is the pagan god and the center of the universe. And then you have presentations where finally the listener is made the center of the universe. Very important. That's why the first word of a good communication is the word you, Y-O-U. Whereas in speech making, it's I. And in academia, it's the topic is. So we know that the centricity that works best, especially when we're networking and working in business, it's always the presentation model with the word you. Human beings act according to their values and what they consider to be important. So therefore, if you happen to love sports, you would of course watch all the games of the Leafs. You would probably volunteer as a coach. You'd be part of a hockey league association. So human beings, when they're communicating with each other, have to understand that if I speak to you about your aspirations, your needs, your concerns, your fears, then we've established a connection, a platform that enables us to speak honestly, productively, and of course, beneficially. Yes, people have a habit of going on, and the way to put an end to that, so that you're not viewed as a rambling communicator, is to end with a question. Make sense? Am I clear? Do you get it? Are you comfortable? Tell me more about yourself. So that way, you can put an end to the paragraph and have the listener contribute to the communication. Questions is the way to go. PowerPoint is poorly designed. There's no doubt about that. But it's the use of PowerPoint that really gets everybody going. The intelligent use of PowerPoint is to use it as a tool of acceleration so that it can transfer more information more quickly for the viewer, the audience, the listener, as opposed to be used as a speaking note, talking points around which people elaborate forever. Now, what we have to appreciate in PowerPoint is that it's best suited for financial statements, diagrams, pictures, including videos, screen captures. And notice that those are not words. They are components that are not presenting easily through the human voice. What's important to remember is what my mother taught me many, many years ago. She said, why don't you make yourself useful? Translate that to business meetings, networking, presentations, and then you go, well, what have you got to bring to the table? What new information do you have that will help us achieve our business objectives? That's why in the movie Wall Street, the question that Gecko asked, come on, kid, tell me what you got. What do you have that will enrich my life? So when you approach an individual or group and you're wanting to present specifically how you can be of use to them, showcase what you've got to bring to the table. The receptionist needs to be appreciated by the caller. The receptionist needs to know that you're bringing something to the organization, her boss in particular, if the receptionist is female, and you want to convey to her what is that value proposition that she should present on your behalf. She becomes a champion of whatever value proposition you bring. And if that is not showcased and not clearly, then she won't speak on your behalf to the boss as to why you should have the meeting with him or her. So on that basis, you've got to understand that she's now your representative. Make her appreciate the value proposition, give her the exact words so that she can do it on your behalf. You may not always be successful, but you've made it simpler for her to represent you. That's the key to the receptionist. Words. Link words are the bane of my existence because they usually follow by the sound For example, my name is Robert Valee, and the sound is built in. But so which that So instead of using link words, good communicators should use periods to separate the sentences. And of course, close their mouths so that they're not making the sound. Link words also put the speaker in a position where now they must say something, even though often they have nothing else to add. Short sentences are easy on the listener. Short sentences are easy on the communicator. When we were kids, we were natural. We spoke in phrases, short sentences. Then, of course, the lovely academics decided to poison perfection by introducing link words and more details in sentences. Well, short sentences, for anyone who's listening, is requiring less effort. And that's such an incredible, easy proposition. Case in point, well, the master of keywords is actually Jedi. A Jedi master by the name of Yoda. Yoda would say, confront him, you must, Luke. As opposed to Luke, you must confront him. The power of the keywords is that they resonate in the ear of the listener with great strength compared to when they're placed at the end. So to be or not to be, that is the question from Shakespeare, is much stronger than the question we must ask ourselves is to be or not to be. And of course, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Versus, let me count the ways and how I love you. The model is called ASK, A-S-C. Always seek confirmation. Seek confirmation of comprehension, comfort, concurrence. So, make sense? Agree? And that way you can get feedback, or at least change the focus of the communication to the listener. Right? For example, nice day, isn't it? Yeah, the isn't it is meant to elicit a response from the other party. You want to be emphatic? Learn religious springboard. Use a word from the previous sentence that acts as the springboard for the next sentence. For example, I have a cult. That's right, I lead a cult. A cult of satisfied clients who get results. That cult has been able to propel them to greater heights in public speaking. So the word cult has been used to springboard, platform, into the next message. That technique is very emphatic, made famous by Martin Luther King, and to this day we still hear it. To this day we still hear it in poetry and in music. And of course when we speak, it's all for the ear. When someone asks you, how much does it cost? How much do you cost? How much do you charge? Fundamentally, you have to accept that it is their right to know that answer as soon as possible. So you've got to prepare. And so you give them choices. This is what I prefer. If you're looking for this, it'll cost you this much. If you're wanting X, you'll get this particular charge. If you want Y, this is what it's going to cost you. Then I have the option of asking, so which of those three would suit your budget? Human beings have a terrible habit of wanting to ad-lib it and wing it. Absolute folly. Imagine for a moment a singer creating the music as he sings it, including the lyrics. Goodness gracious. Imagine a stand-up comic inventing jokes as he goes along. I know the disaster that it would be. Imagine an actor making up a role as he goes along. It doesn't work like that. It's all been predetermined. So that means prepare, decide, and then execute flawlessly. That's it. But it's always nice to see those suicidal fools get up there and screw themselves up completely because they decided would not limit. It gives me great joy.